Welcome to today's Work on Writing Sentence Challenge. Today for Work on Writing you're going to have 20 minutes. During those 20 minutes you'll be watching this video, pausing to go back if there's anything you're unsure about, and then completing the task that I set within the video. So let's get started. Now for today we've used the website Pobble365, and from that website I've chosen this image called Toby. So before we move on, I'd like you to have a very careful look at the image. I'd like you to take in all the different parts, what's included, all the different things you can see, and just get a real feel for what might be going on here. Now the image is titled Toby, and I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions that I don't want you to answer in written form. I just want you to have a think about them in your mind. So I want to know, why does Toby live at the foot of a tree? Who else lives there with him? What do you think it's like living in a forest? What do these dogs get up to? Where are their owners? Who built the houses? Just have a little think about it. It might get your creative juices flowing as you're preparing to do your written task today. You can come back to this photo at any point during the video that you might want to have another look again. Now there's actually a little bit of a story starter, a sizzling start that's already been written. Today's challenge is going to be a sentence challenge. And after today's sentence challenge, the next time you're at Work on Writing, you'll actually be using those sentences to finish off the story that has been started. So I'm going to read it to you. It's actually on the next page, so if you need to look at it again at any point, you can see it in written form on the next page. So just watch the image as I read the story's sizzling start. Toby poked his large, shaggy head out of his front door and sniffed. He loved the smell of the forest, especially first thing in the morning. He could almost taste the fresh, leafy goodness on his slobbering tongue as he dangled it out of his yawning mouth. He could hear a rustling noise coming from nearby. One of the others was awake. You see, Toby wasn't the only dog that lived in the forest. You can see here on this next slide I've actually included the written form of what I just read. So that's going to be the start of your story. Now, as I said, today you're not finishing the story. Today you're going to come up with some wonderful sentences that are going to be part of your completion of the story. I'll give you a bit more information. So, Walt, today we are learning to use adjectives to create interesting sentences. And I'll show you some examples and show you in the story starter that we just had a listen to, and you can see there are some wonderful examples of how adjectives have been used to create interesting and engaging sentences. Wilf, what I'm looking for today. By the end of today, I need to see at least 4 sentences that each have 2 adjectives describing the noun. So let me give you an example of what I mean. Have a look at this sentence here. He placed a large, shaggy paw on the muddy, leaf-covered ground. In this sentence, I'll just get a coloured text so I can see. Yeah, in this sentence, paw is a noun. And also ground is a noun. The author of this sentence has chosen 2 adjectives to describe each noun. So if the noun is paw, the words used to describe the paw are large and shaggy. Now because they've put 2 adjectives in a row, they've actually separated it with a comma. So the comma is separating the 2 adjectives, and both of those adjectives then describe the noun. So without the adjectives, it would just say, he placed a paw on the muddy ground. By including the adjectives, it gives us more information. It helps the reader to picture exactly what that paw looks like and get a real visualization of it in their minds. Creating a list has allowed us to put multiple adjectives to describe that one noun. So I'll give you another example. We also said that ground was a noun in the sentence, and the author has chosen 2 words. See if you can see them. Muddy, and he's also chosen to describe the ground as leaf-covered. And like I said before, the comma separates the 2. So they're creating a list of adjectives, muddy, leaf-covered, to describe the noun. Again, it gives us much more information. I'll read it to you without the adjectives involved. He placed a paw on the ground. Now listen to it with the extra information and see if it helps to create a better visual in your mind. He placed a large, shaggy paw on the muddy, leaf-covered ground. Today, you are going to spend some time coming up with sentences that can match the picture that you will then use in the next lot of work on writing when we come to writing the story ending. You'll create sentences with 2 adjectives that describe a noun separated by a comma. Now, one set is fine in a sentence, but if you want to go even further, this sentence here, how it's got the 2 different lists of adjectives, is a wonderful example. So if we... That's okay, it wouldn't actually let me go back. So if you're looking at this image again and you need to go back and see my example, scroll back and watch it again. When you're ready, you're going to use your work on writing book to record these sentences. Like I said, by the end of the session, because we are learning to use adjectives to describe nouns, what I'm looking for, at least 5 different sentences where you've used adjectives to describe the noun, and each of those sentences will be used eventually when we finish off this story. We will be sharing them. You can share them to Seesaw once you've finished and we can get feedback from our peers. And we'll also read out some fantastic examples at the end of the week when everyone's completed the challenge. So see how you go. Give it your best try. And like I said, go back and re-watch any section where you may be a little bit confused. I look forward to reading your sentences soon.